Hello, students. Welcome to Study Wave Academy, where education is without limits. So today's focus, we were exploiting more on the letter work, and here we were looking at what adjectives are. So we looked at what an adjective is, and we've looked at some of the examples in sentences and some examples of adjectives. So let's move on and now talk about common adjectives. So what are common adjectives? If you're told or you hear something about common adjectives, what comes into your mind, or how do you understand what common adjectives are? So just to help you understand what common adjectives are, we have to understand that there are some frequent words we use when we're describing nouns every day in our language. There are some words that will appear naturally or frequently when we are talking about a noun, or when we're discussing or describing something. We will use some frequent words to talk about these nouns. So for example, you're talking to your friend and you said something like, today I went for lunch and I didn't love the food. It was bitter, or the fruit they gave us today, some were rotten, something like that. So when you're talking, you find yourself just using these adjectives. They are common adjectives, meaning they are frequently used. So in your sentence, you use the word bitter, you use the word maybe sweet, you use the word tall, you use the word red, green. So these things you're using, or these common words you're using, are what we call common adjectives. So basically, common adjectives are just adjectives that provide or they're used frequently. We use them frequently when we are talking. When we're speaking to someone, we will use these adjectives frequently, and even sometimes we won't notice we're using them, but in our day-to-day activity, or when we are chatting with our friends or having conversations, we use these adjectives often. So let's move on and look at examples of common adjectives along with a few examples in sentences, okay? So I've given some examples of common adjectives that I know all of you or some of you use them, know them, and have even heard of them. So, and I've given the examples alongside them so that you can understand better of what common adjectives are. So the first example is big. So here, big is my first example. So the elephant is big. I'm giving simple sentences so that we can all understand and just get a clear picture of what we are trying to talk about when we say common adjectives. So I will give very simple sentences that you will understand. You will not need to confirm or ask your friend what I'm saying, but you will be able to understand this on your own and even use it when you're talking to your friends. So that's why I'm making use of very, very simple sentences. So my first adjective here that is a common adjective is big. Who doesn't know what big is? Big basically describes the size of something. So I've given an example in a sentence here. The elephant is big. Another sentence, the big pizza was enough to feed the whole family. So you see, I've given two sentences here, and my common adjective is big. So big here describes the size of the elephant. So it's not just any other elephant. It's not just an elephant. It's a big elephant, okay? So big talks more about the elephant. Now, another sentence I have given here is the big pizza was enough to feed the whole family. Now, you know what pizza is. For some who don't know, then pizza is just a type of food. And most people will say that pizza is their favorite food. So those who know pizza, we have them in sizes. So the big one is the one that is enough to feed a whole family. So you see, the adjective here is big. It just describes more on the what you're talking about, or more on the noun. Another adjective, is small. Small. The cat is small. When you talk about small, so I've given a simple sentence here, the cat is small. Another sentence is, I found a small gift hidden under the tree. So who doesn't know the word small? Who hasn't even heard the word small? So these are common adjectives that we use when we are speaking, and we use in our day-to-day lives. So they're very common among us. We don't need to research what they mean because we use them when we are talking. You'll tell your friend, I don't want a small piece of cake, I want the large piece, okay? So you're specific with what you want. If you tell your friend that I don't want a small piece of the cake. I want the large piece. You see, you're being specific. Give me a small piece or give me a large piece. You're being specific. So this is the purpose of adjectives. They help us be specific and just have the clear picture of what we are trying to say or what we're trying to pass across. So that is what adjectives do. Now, the cat is small. The cat is not, it's not just any other cat. It's a small cat. There's cats of big sizes. There's a big cat, there's a brown cat, there's a whatever the cat is, but here in this sentence specifically, it talks about our cat being small. I found a small gift hidden under the tree. The gift was small, and where was it? Was hidden under the tree. So here it's not just any other gift, or you can as well say I found a gift hidden under the tree. The sentence, like I said, will still make sense, but the distinct feature here is that it's not just any other gift. It's a small gift that you found hidden under the tree. Another example is happy. She is happy. She is happy. She is happy. Now she's not just in any mood, she is happy. Happy describes the mood of this girl or this woman. The children were happy when they received their presents. What was the emotion of the children or the class or the students when they received their present? They were happy. So happy is just a common adjective that you use every day. I know even you in your family, back at home or in class, in school, you use these words. You say, today I'm happy, or I feel happy today, or I'm sad. So this is a common adjective that most of us we use, but we don't even realize we use them. They are frequently used, or you use them like almost every day, every time when you speak. So that is what common adjectives are. I will continue giving more examples so that we can be able to look at several examples of common adjectives. And now I want us to look at sad. He looks sad. It's always sad to say goodbye to friends. Now, sad is a common adjective again, because here you are talking about your emotion. You're telling someone how you feel. And I believe in our day-to-day life, again, when we speak to our friends, when we talk to our families, we use these words. We talk to people and tell them how we feel. So we definitely use these words when we are speaking. So this sad is the common adjective. Beautiful. Beautiful is another example. The flowers are beautiful. The sunset over the ocean was incredibly beautiful. Now look at those two sentences. You're not just talking about the flower, but you're talking about or appreciating the beauty of the flower. Now beautiful tells us more on how the flower is. The flower is very beautiful. The sunset is not just any other sunset. It's incredibly beautiful. It's a beautiful sunset. So here, class, if you want to know where the adjective is, you try to remove it from the sentence even. So you say something like, the sunset over the sea was incredibly beautiful, or the flowers are beautiful. So these flowers here, then they're beautiful, and this sunset is also beautiful. So we're just trying to add taste or interest in the sentence we are talking about, or the sentence we're trying to pass across. Another example is ugly. The sweater is ugly. I don't like the design. It's an ugly sweater. Now, here you're trying to talk your thoughts out. Like you tell someone about your thoughts. Maybe someone gave you a sweater and you didn't like it. You feel that it's ugly. So this is your opinion here, right? So one thing I want you to understand is that with this adjective ugly, you might think it's ugly, but someone else might think it's beautiful. So this is an opinion adjective, and as we continue growing and learning together, we will reach a point where we will discuss more types of adjectives. We have several types of adjectives, very many types of adjectives, and right now we're looking at the common adjectives, and there's also other adjectives like countable adjectives. There's other context, for example, other adjectives, for example, the one I'm talking about, ugly here, it shows opinion. So we'll talk about the adjectives and what they show, or how to notice an adjective, or what the adjective's purpose is. So for example, ugly here, it's an opinion. Beautiful too is an opinion. Sad is an emotion there. So for example, this sweater might be ugly to you, but to another person it's very, very pretty. We also have adjectives that show size, that show shape, that show your opinion, others that show the originality of something, or the where something comes from. So there are different types of adjectives and how to identify them, but for our lesson we will just focus on these examples of common adjectives, the ones we frequently use. I will continue exploring more examples because, class, I want you to understand and become the best when you're talking about adjectives, and I want you to understand more common adjectives. Fast. So we have fast, slow, and hot. These three adjectives are also common adjectives. We use them every day. For example, when you're telling your mother you don't want hot tea, you want your tea warm, or you're describing how the tortoise moves. Look at this turtle here. This is a turtle. A turtle is different from a tortoise. A tortoise is the one that you find it on land, but a turtle is the one that you find it on water. It's less on land, okay? So you find it more resides in the water. So look at this turtle. You'll say something like, the turtle is slow, or we took a slow walk in the park on a lazy afternoon. So this slow, fast, and hot describe or talk more about a noun. So the car is fast. The cheetah is the fastest land animal. So here you're talking about the cheetah being the fastest animal or fast. So you're talking more about the cheetah. You're giving more description on what the cheetah does best. So it's the fastest. And then hot, the coffee is hot. Be careful, the stove is very hot. Or be careful, the tea is very hot. The coffee is very hot. So these three, they are common adjectives that describe more on what a noun does or a noun is. Other more examples is cold, tasty, and spicy. Cold, tasty, and spicy. We have a lot of examples when we're exploring this. So, for example, when you're telling your mom you don't want cold tea or you want some hot tea, you see, the ice cream is cold. We enjoyed some cold lemonade on the hot summer day. These are sentences that use common adjectives to tell us more about a noun. The food is tasty. Grandma's cookies are always tasty. The curry is spicy. I love spicy food, but this is too hot for me, okay? So these are just more examples of common adjectives, and there are very, very many common adjectives. I've given other examples here. We have noisy, we have quiet, we have colorful. So here the kids are noisy. The party next door was noisy that I couldn't sleep. Now when you talk about quiet, again, an example in the sentence, the library is quiet. The forest is peaceful and quiet place to relax. The artwork is colorful. The parade featured colorful costumes and floats. Okay, so here, these just common adjectives that we use in our day-to-day life. So for example, in this class, out of all these examples I've given, so from giving the example of sad, beautiful, ugly, to giving examples of fast, slow, hot, and moved on to another example of cold, tasty, spicy, and further told you more on noisy, quiet, colorful. Who among you has not heard of any of these adjectives? So it will be confusing if you tell me that you've not heard of any of these adjectives that I've mentioned. So these are just the common adjectives that I'm talking about. The big, small, happy, these are common adjectives that you've heard about. You've heard people talking, when people are talking, they use them. So basically this just proves that, or tells us more that common adjectives, they are used frequently to describe nouns in everyday language. So our everyday language, if you're speaking English or even your local language, there are specific words that you include in sentences to provide more insight or to give more description on what you're talking about. So these are what we call common adjectives. Yes, so these are what we call common adjectives. They just tell us more on what the adjective is, and I feel like all of you once or somewhere you know them and you've heard of them.